Hey, good morning, everybody. Yeah, it's Monday. Yeah, I have to work today, but I only have to work 6.5 hours, so thank God for that. Um, but I thought I'd come on here because I watched a video that Brony Nation did. In fact, he actually did two videos on this. Second one he did was the Truth Story Heart, and I think he did a follow-up on that. He did one before about the alicorns and stuff, and looking at both videos, I have to say that he does bring up some good points. Um, as far as, depending on what medium of the Friendship is Magic franchise you want to believe, we really don't know that much about the Alicorns. We don't know exactly how they came to be, where they're from, we don't know. Um, Now, the reason this gets brought up a lot, especially over the past year and a half, um, is due to the fact that it's due to the fact that in the season 6 premiere, Luna and Celestria basically flat out say that birth of an alicorn is beyond their understanding. Well, Celestria basically says it's something that Equestria has never seen, and Luna follows that up by saying it's beyond their understanding. Now, of course, this kind of concerns the main six, mostly, mostly like Fluttershy. She whispers to Rarity that, that doesn't sound good. So, it does kind of make, make the main cast kind of concerned at the fact that, wait a minute, you guys have been along, you guys have been around longer than we have, and yet you don't understand how this can be, how this happened. So it's kind of worrisome to them. And it kind of confuses the fans as well because then if you take a look at depending on the media or the medium, whatever you want to call it, of Friendship is Magic that you read or watch or even believe, in the Journal of the Two Sisters, it states that Celestria and Luna are naturally born alicorns. And this is backed up in several other sources on Twitter, but there are others on Twitter as well that are involved in the franchise that, you know, disacknowledge or disavow this statement. So, the um, question is exactly how can an alicorn come to be? Now, one thing Brony Nation brought up was in that so the reason that Twilight, excuse me, but the reason that Twilight and Cadence became alicorns is because of intervention. Celestria intervened with creation as into alicorns. In other words, they were either in, Twilight's case, a naturally born unicorn, or in the case of Cadence, possibly a naturally born Pegasus, or as we've seen in flashbacks, a naturally born unicorn. Well, and and basically it took intervention from someone like Celestria to make them princesses, because depending on the media of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic that you, like I say, you want to believe, Cadence did a princess-worthy deed, to quote Rarity, wrote, to paraphrase and quote Rarity from the season 6 premiere. Cadence did a princess-worthy deed that allowed her to earn her status as an alicorn in the eyes of Celestria. So Celestria basically said, okay, that what you did, saving these people, that's that is worthy of a princess. That's worthy of royalty. Basically, you put the love for these people or anything else, these love for these creatures or anything else, even yourself, that's worthy of becoming the princess of love. And there you go. Twilight was put to the test in a similar way. Basically made into the princess of friendship, because she had proven in the Crystal Empire season 3 finale that she had passed all the tests Celestia wanted her to pass, and on her road to becoming the Princess of Friendship, because of the fact that I think the one major test is sacrificing herself to a possible imprisonment by King Sombra, which allowed Spike to get the crystal heart to Cadence, or allowed Spike to get the crystal heart, out of the castle, and basically sooner or later, and just momentarily, and just, or should I say, moments later, to Cadence. So by doing that, in the eyes of Celestia, not only had Twilight passed all the tests that she needed to pass, but she also had proven herself with this one final test that she was worthy of being the Princess of Friendship. Now, here's the thing. Now, one could probably understand, okay, it took Celestia's intervention to that for Cadence and Twilight, but where do her and Luna fit into this category? One thing Brony Nation brought up was the fact that they could have came from a land away from Equestria that's known as a land of alicorns, basically where alicorns live in harmony, live in peace, but kind of like the but also like the guardians of Equestria. Like, they'll watch over the land, and if they need to, they will send an alicorn or 2 or 3 out to protect it, save it. One thing Brony Nation brought up was that could have been the case with Celestia and Luna. Luna and Celestia could have ended up being sent or volunteered, or they could have either been sent or they volunteered to go and confront Discord and stop his reign of chaos over Equestria. By doing so, they, in a sense, earned the title of princesses, even though they could have just been Celestia and Luna, and that's it. They could have earned the title of princesses, and by earning those titles of royalty and as guardians, basically had, basically they were put in a situation where the citizens of Ponyville, Canterlot, and all of Equestria looked up to them as not just heroes, but royalty. And now they were put into a position to where they probably both agreed, you know what, if we leave, who's to say, if we leave, go back to our homeland, who's to say the same thing won't happen again immediately afterwards? So basically had Luna and Celestia, according to Brony Nation, stay behind, maybe find a way to communicate with their homeland and say, hey, look, we'll come home soon. We'll come home as soon as we can. But right now, it's best for us to stay here and watch over these other ponies, other creatures. And that's probably what happened. And of course, you have and of course, it did have its ups and downs, its emotional ups and downs, with the whole Luna into Nightmare Moon, stuff like that. But one thing that Brony Nation also brought up was during this time, Celestia set up a school in Canterlot that allowed her to scout or choose a gifted. Basically, Celestia had created a school for gifted unicorns. Basically, unicorns or Pegasus, whatever, or mostly unicorns that had potential to be the ones that she can maybe pass her learnings on to, pass her teaching on to. She had a lot of candidates, Sunset Shimmer, possibly Tempest. We don't know about that yet. And also Twilight and Sunburst. Yeah, and she had other ones as well, like Lyra, Minuet, Moon Dancer. The list goes on. So, she had all these potential candidates, but she noticed that there was something about Twilight that caught her eye, and that's why Twilight was given the responsibility to go out and do what it had to do from the Princess of Friendship. One thing that Brony Nation, and I'm sure others have brought up, was maybe this was a way for Celestia to also get a successor to where if the time presents itself, if the time is correct, her and possibly Luna can go back to their homeland knowing that they're leaving Equestria in two capable hands, that being Twilight and Cadence. But then he brought up something else, one thing that not a lot of people are hoping happens, and that is what happens if Twilight decides to step down as royalty. And so does Cadence. Well, Cadence already has a successor in Flurryheart. But what does this leave Twilight? Who does she have? And that's where Starlight comes in. And there's a possibility going to Brony Nation that if that was to happen, and this is just from his headcanon, and basically from his headcanon, which when one thinks about it, sometimes the headcanons of the fans seem more legit continuity-wise than I think anything the show writers and comic book writers could come up with. No offense. But from his perspective, he feels that the reason Starlight is being tutored, even if she's kind of semi-graduated or semi-halfway done, she's still learning from Twilight, is because she's going to be possibly the next one to ascend to Alicorn status, which means Twilight would have a successor should she step down from royalty once Celestia leaves and gives it to her. Once Celestia and Luna leave and give it to her in Cadence, and just like Cadence would have someone in Flurryheart, Twilight could have someone in Starlight. But that's all speculation. Question that he had, and anybody has, is how did Luna and Celestia get into Alicorn status? And again, they could have been naturally born, Alicorns in their homeland, but they've never seen, but for the thousands of years they've been around, even if one was in the moon for a while, they never had seen or never understood how a Alicorn could be naturally born in Equestria instead of in the homeland of the Alicorns. Now the show doesn't touch upon this, but basically that leaves the door open for speculation that this could be the reasoning, this possibility. So again, it's all speculation. That maybe to Luna and Celestia, it's beyond their understanding how a naturally born Alicorn can be born outside of their homeland and in a place like Equestria. And also maybe it's beyond their understanding how a regular unicorn in shining armor, and basically formerly a regular unicorn in Cadence, who is now an Alicorn, can give birth to a naturally born Alicorn. It's beyond our understanding how that could happen. Because it's like, well, wait a minute. How can this be? Because if you think about it from Celestia and Luna's perspective, Cadence and Shining Armor having a baby is not that big of a deal. It either being born as a unicorn or it either being born as a Pegasus, they can understand. But to be an Alicorn all at once, have the magic that she has, it's really mind-boggling to the characters, and it's mind-boggling to the fans, although fans pretty much say, hey, she was only made for merchandising. And that might be true, if not entirely true. But I think when you look at a character like Flurryheart, there might be a reason why she was born. Now, I did a video many months ago, or several months ago, or a couple months ago, where I asked if Star Swirl the Bearded could be behind this. Think about it. I want you to think about this. One thing Brony Nation brought up in one of his videos about Flesh Century was the mirror. Mirror between the Equestria Pony world and the Equestria human world. Now, he brought up the fact that Flash Sentry could have gone, the pony version of Sentry could have gone into the human world, let Sunset Shimmer know what was going on, then went back and nobody was, without anybody knowing that he had gone back and forth. So what if Stars World the Bearded has a way of looking into the future? And he's able, because because his status is he's supposed to be a legendary wizard. He's supposed to be this legendary wizard that's very powerful and essentially was Celestia and Luna's teacher. He was the one that taught them and sent them out and about. So who's to say he wasn't also a teacher to other Alicorns? Just saying, with him being that powerful. So let's say Starswell the Bearded has a way of looking into the future and seeing, and is able to kind of manipulate certain events with his magic in the future. Like he's able to send, unbeknownst maybe to the other ponies and creatures in that future, he's able to send some kind of magic through a portal, through that mirror portal of his that looks into the future. He's able to send some kind of magic their way to, cause certain events or moments to happen the way they do. So one would have to think maybe that's why Flurry Heart became the way he was. Became the way she is. Because one thing that Brony Nation and some other fans have brought up is when Celestia made Twilight and Cadence into princesses, she had basically altered their DNA. She made it artificial. Thus, as Brony Nation put it, Flurry Heart is not a naturally born Alicorn, she's an artificially born Alicorn, because in reality she should be either a Pegasus or a unicorn. But again, this is where I think Starswell could have had something to do with it. He could have saw into the future through some kind of portal, saw the birth of Flurry Heart, and said, you know what? This is going to be the one that protects all of Equestria for all time. This is going to be the one that is going to be the chosen one, And maybe he used some kind of magic. Like I said, he sent through maybe that portal that looked into the future, and maybe in his own way altered the DNA of Flurry Heart, and thus upon birth, instead of being either a unicorn or a Pegasus, she became naturally born as an Alicorn. Would explain why her magic, because think about this, when everybody sees her for the first time and sees what she's capable of magic wise, even Celestia comes out and says that her magic is more powerful than a newborn unicorn, basically saying that this magic is something that you don't want to mess with. I mean, heck, when she sneezed for the first time, and the magic that came out of her unicorn, out of her horn, blasted into the ceiling, it not only blasted a hole into the next, it not just blasted a hole into the next room, it blasted a hole into several rooms, and then kind of slowly, and then kind of comedically fried or burned another pony's hair. The point is, I mean, heck, even when she cried at the end of part 1 of the crystalline, her cry was so powerful that it stopped the crystal heart from spinning and caused it to implode. In other words, break apart. So you have to think, how can a pony, or a baby pony for that matter, or a baby Alicorn for that matter, be more powerful than that of Twilight, that of her own mother, that even of maybe Celestia and Luna? How can she be more powerful? And the one answer to my opinion is I think it's got to be Starswell intervention. And again, if he's portrayed as this powerful wizard, he can't see into the future. He doesn't have some kind of portal that lets him keep focused on different timelines in the future, or a certain specific timeline in the future. And he's not the one that maybe used some kind of magic to send through that portal to alter that DNA of the baby, so that when she was born, she came who she was and she had the power that she did. Who's to say he didn't see through this? I'm just saying. Again, just like Brony Nation brought up, this This is just purely speculation. Purely speculation. But what if there is more to it? Oh, sorry, my finger hit the mic there. But what if there is more to it? You know what I'm saying? What if that could be the case? When you piece it all together, when you think about it, when you take all the pieces of the puzzle, everything that I've said, anything else Brony Nation said, or Cyril Quill has said, or I love Kim Possible a lot has said, or Eliora, whoever, Firebrand, and you know, Sapphire, you name it, Lightning Bliss, anybody that's touched upon this in their own way. If you take everything that they've mentioned and I've said, you kind of look at some of the things they point out, and I've pointed out, you have to realize maybe there's a point. Maybe there is something there. Maybe there is a Star Swirl connection to what's happened with Flurry Heart. Who knows? Maybe there is a connection to what Brony Nation said about, Celestia and Luna being maybe naturally born as Pegasus or unicorns, and as they hit adolescent age, they became alicorns. Dang. The point is the mystery of the Alicorn mystery is always going to remain open, and it still continues. Again, depending on whether you believe what Amy Kinney Rogers puts in the Journal of the Two Sisters, or you believe what Megan McCarthy says, whoever, still remains open for debate, and it remains open until we get a definitive answer as to the truth, to the origins of how Celestia and Luna became who they are, and we find out the answer of how Flurry Heart became who she is. And I still believe there's that Star Swirl the Bearded connection. I just feel that's there. I don't know why. I feel it is from what I can just tell. And again, taking what someone like Brony Nation and a few others have said, I wouldn't be surprised if he's powerful enough to where not only could he become like a mentor and a teacher, Celestia and Luna and maybe other alicorns, but he can also be someone that's powerful enough to create some kind of time portal or time mirror that allows him to look into the future Pacific timelines and maybe cast certain spells towards that future to cause certain events or moments to occur for a reason. I'm just saying, again, it's, I'm one of those fans that just look at this as from a mere speculation standpoint. That's all I look at it as, from a mere speculation standpoint. I'm not saying that what I'm saying, I'm not saying that I'm correct. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is I'm just giving my opinion and my speculation amongst many people who have been doing this for the past several years. Because what's funny is since Flurry Heart was debuted, it's like, and even before that when they hyped up of what she was going to be in the previews, this is, ever since season 6 in my opinion, people have been wondering the truth. And again, the only way this debate, this speculation is going to ever end is if you have Lauren Faust, is either you have Lauren Faust herself, or you have Megan McCarthy, or you have somebody just come out and say, here's the truth. Here's the truth behind the characters, here's the truth behind the origins, There you go. I believe that's the only way it's going to come to an end, in my opinion. So, but that's really all I'm going to say, folks. I got to get ready for work. But I thought I'd just let you guys kind of have your own thought process on it, I should say. And what do you think? What do you think of this possibility? What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on what I've said? What your comments on that? What are your thoughts about what others have said? Where do you think the connection is? Do you think we'll get a definitive answer? Let me know down below. But again, the Alicorn mystery, as far as I'm concerned, it continues on. So let me know what you guys think. Comment down below, and I will talk to y'all later.